Number 9. Make a wish. Is it really a birthday if there's no cake? Almost everyone has had a cake on their special day. It's been a tradition for decades. And in the last few years, a new trend has been popping up. The birthday boy or girl usually gets a cake smashed in their face. Who knows where this started? Maybe it began when we saw 1-year-olds on their first birthday digging in, or perhaps it was just a cruel joke. Either way, it's not all that funny if you're the one getting dessert shoved in your face. Earlier this year, a Facebook post went viral after a man posted an unfortunate birthday accident. The photos included a picture of a cake with wooden skewers sticking up out of it. The other pics were a bit more gruesome. Apparently, the birthday girl had just finished blowing out her candles when her friend slammed her head into the center of the cake. At first, everything seemed fine, but as she lifted her frosting-covered face up, something else was stuck onto it. One of the skewers. The second she did, blood started spurting out as she screamed. Her friends quickly took her to the hospital where medics carefully removed the wood and bandaged her up. They told her she was extremely lucky. If the skewer had been any closer to her eye, it might have hit the pupil, which could have potentially blinded her. That's one heck of a birthday gift. That must have been a huge surprise, and that friend will probably never touch a cake again, or be invited to any parties for that case. Number 8. Party pooper. Every teenager dreams of turning 16. Media has popularized the idea of a sweet 16, but it's really just one more step before adulthood. That doesn't mean a young girl doesn't deserve to have an amazing birthday party, though. One Sunday in Pennsylvania, a family was celebrating their daughter Jacinda Cambray's 16th birthday. The day was going well, 40 people were in the backyard living it up with the festivities, when suddenly things got a little stinky. And by stinky, we mean revolting. Right after cutting and eating the cake, literal human poop started raining down from the clouds. Everyone was extremely confused. Were there birds dropping waste from up above? Where was it coming from? But one of the guests figured it out. She used her phone and saw that multiple planes had just finished flying right over them. They believe the feces came from one of the airplanes dumping out their waste container mid-flight, which is very illegal, by the way. There was poop everywhere. Pictures from the day show it scattered on top of one of the canvas canopies they had set up, and luckily they'd already finished eating because that's one sure way to lose an appetite. Jacinda's father Joe immediately started hosing things down once they guessed what the mysterious brown, smelly substance was. Disgusted, the family had issued a complaint with aviation services, so hopefully they'll be able to deduce what really happened. Number 7. Dry ice. Most people use dry ice around Halloween to look like smoke coming out of a cauldron. It's also used in science labs to cool samples. But one woman decided to use it at her birthday party, a decision that had deadly results. The woman was a popular blogger from Russia named Ekaterina Didenko. They were celebrating her 29th birthday when her husband Valentin thought it was time to kick things up a level. The party was being held outside at a sauna pool complex in Moscow. Valentin had seen some videos online of people using dry ice to create a smoky special effect and thought it would be perfect for the event. So he threw 25 kilograms, or around 55 pounds, of the dry ice straight into the pool. Vapor rose up from the pool and everyone started cheering and getting excited. He dove into the cloud. 2 more people followed, everyone still cheering, until they realized that the 3 aren't coming up from beneath the vapor. Chaos ensued as partygoers began to faint and a huge cloud of the vapor flew up from the pool. People were rushed to the hospital with carbon dioxide poisoning, some even receiving chemical burns from the harshness. 2 guests at the party were declared dead when the medics arrived. Ekaterina went to the medical center with her husband to monitor his condition. While she waited for news on him, she updated her fans on the situation, saying, quote, "I am alive, I am behind the doors of an intensive care ward, I don't know who died," and just a few hours later, she'd find out that her husband had passed away. Dry ice has a large amount of carbon dioxide in it. If a human is exposed to too much of it at once, it can enter their bloodstream and poison them. It seems that Valentin should have done a bit more research into his special effects before taking on the challenge himself. If he put more effort into understanding what he was about to do, this freak accident could have been avoided. Losing a husband has to top the list for the worst things to happen on a birthday. Number 6. Deadly presents. Celebrations are known to get out of hand at times, and we're not talking about the kind of problems when your aunt has too much to drink at the family barbecue. Nope, the trouble we're referring to is so much worse. Antonio Flores Narciso might just be the biggest party pooper we've ever seen, even more so than the plane from that last listing. Having a roommate can be difficult. If you don't get along with them, then it's likely to start a load of drama, which is the last thing you want in your own home. Antonio and his roommate were far from friends. One night his roommate was having the time of his life celebrating his birthday. He was in his room having a loud threesome with 2 other women. Ooh la la. According to Narciso, they were being way too loud. He asked them multiple times to quiet down, but they didn't listen. So Antonio banged on the door and kicked it down. Thinking this would be enough to finally shut them up, they only yelled at him to get out, which is honestly understandable considering they probably weren't fully clothed. But Narciso didn't like the way they spoke to him. He left the room, went into the kitchen, and grabbed a knife. He then went back and stabbed his roommate multiple times in the head, hands, back, and more. Thankfully, he survived and Antonio was arrested. The 2 women were witnesses and identified him in a lineup. As obnoxious as his roommate was being, no one deserves what Antonio did. It was his birthday after all. Number 5. Surprise! We've already had a pretty big mishap with a birthday cake that led to someone being hospitalized, but who knew cakes could go so wrong? A young man from Missouri named George Bryan was being filmed as his birthday cake was brought out to him. His family and friends are seen singing happy birthday cheerfully as the candles burn bright. As the song comes to an end, the teenager leans in to make a wish, and as he starts to blow, a giant flame erupts from the cake. Everyone in the room is instantly taken aback and completely shocked, while George sits in this chair looking dumbfounded. Since the incident, the video was featured on a show called Outrageous Acts from the Science Channel. They had a few top-notch scientists view the video and explain just what went wrong. If you look closely at the cake itself, you can see powdered sugar has been sprinkled all along the top, with the candles set above it. Most of us wouldn't think twice about this, but the scientists went on to describe how this simple dessert caused such an incredible reaction. Powdered sugar has an immense amount of energy built up between its molecules, and when George went to blow out the candles, he also spread out the sugar. As the flames were disturbed, they set the powder on fire, causing the fireball. It's no wonder kitchen fires are so common. Who knew? Just be careful next time you make your birthday wish. Number 4. Balloons. Aside from cake, balloons are a birthday staple. On her 21st birthday, Sarah Erickson unknowingly caused a massive misunderstanding. She spent the day celebrating and ended the night with a party at her boyfriend Fabian's house. He had gotten her some balloons shaped to look like they said the number 21, and he hung them up near their window. Everything went fine, but 2 days later, Fabian got a knock on his door. When he opened it, he saw multiple police cars pulled in front of his house and a few officers standing in front of him. They approached him saying they received a complaint from someone that said Fabian had the symbol of an Islamic terrorist group hanging in his window. At first, he was just confused, but then the cops showed him a picture. Sure enough, it was the balloons he'd gotten a few days before. From outside the house, it appeared as if they said IS, or 12. Fabian was quick to reassure the police that it was all a misunderstanding. When the authorities found out it was just a birthday decoration, they laughed the incident off and just told him to take the balloons down so no one else gets the wrong idea. They wished his girlfriend a happy day, and Sarah responded, quote, "I'm so surprised at all the attention. I'll never forget my 21st birthday," end quote. She shouldn't, considering it was almost taken as a national threat. Number 3. Gunshots. This next story is not as lighthearted as the others we covered so far. Imagine sending your kid off to have a fun night at their friend's house. They've been excited for weeks about going to this party, and you trust that they'll come home safe. Only, they don't. A child's birthday party in Louisiana back in April ended in disaster as gunshots interrupted the festivities. Around 8:30 at night, 6 people were shot in the tragedy. The victims were all kids too. How did something like this happen, you might ask? It turns out that an argument started up during the party that ended in the wrong person getting upset. 2 rival groups of teenage boys were getting heated when someone pulled out a gun. The exact events that happened are unknown, but witnesses believe the gunman could have been a child themselves. No one was killed, but victims were taken to the hospital with severe injuries. Even with over 60 people at the party, no one has come forward with information. The mother of the birthday girl wished to remain anonymous in police and news interviews. She said about her daughter, quote, "This is not how I want her to remember her 12th birthday party," end quote. Even though no one was killed, trauma was definitely set in stone for many children that day. Number 2, silly string. As children, most of us look forward to getting presents on our birthday, eating cake, or breaking open a piñata. Some parties give away goodie bags to the kids who attend that include little knickknacks and toys like bouncy balls or slinkies. But another popular one was silly string. This strange spaghettified substance that was made in the 70s has been a child favorite for years. One family decided to have a bit of fun and use the string to pull a prank on their 11-year-old daughter's birthday. Now, we're 100% positive no one in this situation had any bad intentions, but they really should have been more careful. As the little girl went to blow out the candles on her cake, the party guests sprayed her with silly string all over. It seemed innocent enough until she literally burst into flames. The string came in contact with the fire on the candles and instantly erupted. The party guests were horrified as the child ran around screaming in terror. They rushed to help her, trying their best to put out the flames before she was too badly burnt. A video captured the whole thing on camera and was posted online. It's believed that the party took place somewhere in Argentina, but it hasn't been confirmed. Neither has the identity of the birthday girl. Because of this, we aren't aware of how badly she was hurt, but we can only imagine. Number 1, oil spill. People who work on boats in the middle of the ocean are extremely dedicated. They have to be willing to be away from their homes and families for months at a time with little to no breaks. A Japanese cargo ship last year with hundreds of workers crashed. As the hull of the boat split open, a massive amount of oil that was on board for fuel and power was leaked into the ocean water. What makes it worse is that it crashed into a coral reef, one of the few that we have left in the world. Supposedly, the incident happened because crew members were distracted by the birthday of someone on board. So much so that the navigation path had shifted. The news was taken poorly by authorities and officials. They took the ship's captain into custody for questioning after the wreck. Aside from the obvious monetary strain this wreck will have on the company the boat belonged to, an entire ecosystem will be shifted. Imagine getting into a shipwreck on your birthday and simultaneously disrupting Mother Nature. We're not saying it's the birthday boy's fault, but you be the judge. Thanks for watching. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Do you have any crazy birthday stories? Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. And if it just so happens to be your birthday today, be safe and have a great day. See you next time on the Bad Badger.